everyone. Thank you so much for being here for our first On the Shelf program. My name is Carol. I'm a librarian here, and 6 feet away from me we have Kat. Hello. And we're going to talk about some books that are available on the library shelf right now for you to check out, because we are open for checkout services only, and you can place a hold or request on these titles through our app, through our website, or by giving us a phone call. All right, let's get started. I'm so excited to talk about some of these books. So I'm going to start with this one. This is for people who like romance. It is called Meet Cute, and it's actually a collection of short stories. And these, all the short stories deal with either love or how a couple might have met or even heartbreak. So they're not equally, they don't have the same tone, but they do all follow that same theme. And a lot of the authors are really well-known authors. One of them is my favorite, Nicola Yoon, and the one that she wrote is the very last one, it's best for last, and it's called The Department of Dead Love, which I know doesn't really sound uplifting or like a great love story, but somehow it is. So the Department of Dead Love, or the DODL, is sort of a bureaucratic compound, if you will, that is a place where you can go to sort of dissect or find out what happened in your relationship, why it ended, what went wrong, that kind of thing. And the main character does go to this compound to have a relationship autopsy. And so the author does a really great job of world building. She describes like how each different complex in the, or building in the compound is, the color of it is different. If it's young love, it looks like a certain, maybe lavender, you know, so it's really, the setting is really amazing. I would say a character in this story, because it is so bureaucratic, the organization of it, and yet at the same time it's dealing with a topic that isn't usually bureaucratic. Unless you're married to an accountant, but I won't go into that right now. And the main character wants a do-over, which of course you have to go through a lot of red tape and go to a lot of different offices to get this do-over with his relationship. And I'm not going to tell you anymore because I don't want to ruin the story, but it really is a wonderful romance story. But again, about heartbreak too. So it's a mix, but I enjoyed it.
Okay, Carol, I have a question. You said that they were books about love. Is there any steamy romance in it for people who might not enjoy that or might enjoy that?
I'm going to say it doesn't go too steamy. So this is maybe a, what would you call that? A PG-13
okay.
romance. So yeah, it's not gonna take you to the edge of 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that. That's a good question. Thank you so much, Kat. So definitely other authors, if you've read Nina LaCour, she's a really good one in here. And who's the other one? Meredith Russo. They're really all good ones in their own right. So if you want to check this out, you can place it on hold right now. It's called Meet Cute. Some people are destined to meet.
All right, a book I'm really excited to talk about is The Dreamers, a novel by Karen Thompson Walker. I read this one just a few months ago. I kept checking the publication date because it felt so completely relevant to where we are right now. This book was published last year, but it is about a town that's experiencing an epidemic and everything that goes through your head while your town is on lockdown, people who wear masks, people who don't wear masks. So it was completely relevant, but at the same time, it didn't feel hopeless. It was a wonderful book. It was very lyrical. It was told from several different townspeople's points of view, a college student, a young family, and then a survivalist father and his 2 daughters who were already planning for the end of the world. And so it's from their point of view as well. It was just incredibly prophetic to me. When I was reading it, I was thinking, when did she write this? It felt like she was writing it as I was living my life. And so I know not everyone is interested in reliving what we're going through right now, But it was kind of nice for me to step back and read someone else's story about the same issues. So I would highly recommend The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker.
Kat, I'm curious. If they made a movie of this book, do you have someone who you think should play the dad? Because in my head, as you were talking about that, I was thinking about some of the movies I've seen, like World War Z, where Brad Pitt is the dad. What's that other one? Sometimes I forget actors.
Definitely, he felt like he'd be more of a grizzly, abrupt kind of character. But since it was told from so many points of view, it didn't necessarily feel like there was a main character. It felt like there was a cast of main characters. I was so excited when I was finished reading this that I became very interested in the author. And so I currently have her other book, The Age of Miracles, checked out. And I haven't read that one yet, but I'm looking forward to it because this one was just so outstanding. And in almost the beautiful way it described the virus, which sounds bizarre, but I was reading it and thinking, this is poetry. That is beautiful.
Wow.
So it was wonderful.
Nice. I like that with the different points of view. I like you really get into a character's head.
Yes.
When you get that. Thank you. All right. Well, for my second recommendation on the shelf available is actually a large print or large type book. So just want to make everyone aware that we do have those. So the print is much larger, which means a little more page turning, but I don't mind, especially if I can get a title that I've been looking for. And this title is actually, it's a newer book, so there's a lot of people that have it on hold or have requested it, but not the large type. So if you're wanting this one now, if you're on the list for My Wife Said You May Want to Marry Me, and you're getting tired of waiting, you can just place a hold or request on the large type or large print version and get it today. This is a memoir. It's by Jason B. Rosenthal, and he is the husband of Amy Krauss Rosenthal, and she's a very well-known children's author, but even if you're not familiar with her work or her children's books, I think you would find this memoir interesting. It really is a testament or a tribute to their relationship. It is sad because it is dealing with grief. If you saw the article that she wrote, you might want to marry my husband. You know that she did have ovarian cancer and did pass away, so I'm not really giving anything away because it's kind of well known. The article that she wrote really did change his life and impacted his life after she was gone in a big way. And so the book also talks about what she did for him with that article. It was very famous in the New York Times. And then he also did a TED Talk about it. And so this is his first book. And I thought he did a pretty good job. I was impressed with it. But I'm not sure if he's going to continue with his writing. I think it was more of a journey for him to write this book as a tribute to not just his wife, but also his family and friends who helped him just dealing with the grief.
I have a few questions, Carol. First of all, it sounds like a tearjerker. So were you just crying buckets during this book?
You know, it's so inspiring and hopeful. There was one page where I cried a little bit. And I wouldn't say I was bawling. It was just like, maybe two tissues where you're thinking, do I need a Kleenex? So it really was not, wasn't meant to be a sad book. Of course, there's sad things in it, but I would not call it a tearjerker at all.
Okay. And then is this book nonfiction? Because you said it's a memoir.
It is a memoir. It is in fiction, but it's, it is mostly about their family.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say
not
it's
a brief manual.
It's not. No.
Okay. So
Not at all. Not at all.
All right.
Great.
And both of those sound excellent. I can't wait to read both of them. So you're going to have to beat me to it. All right. My second book is called The Stranger Diaries. We've got Halloween coming up, so if anyone wants to get prepared for that, The Stranger Diaries by Ellie Griffiths is perfect for setting the scene for those goosebumps that you might want to have right before Halloween. Stranger Diaries. I'm just going to read really quickly from the beginning. It says Claire Cassidy is no stranger to murder. She's a high school English teacher specializing in a Gothic writer. So she's teaching her class about that, and then one of her coworkers is killed in the same manner that she was already describing by her Gothic writer, and then so she's been writing down her thoughts in her diary, and then she starts noticing someone else is writing in her diary as well. So she's trying to figure out what's going on. This book is also told from 3 different points of view, from the teacher, her daughter, and then the police detective. One of the things I really enjoyed about those different points of view is the fact that you were able to see character flaws and character strengths when someone was describing another person, like the mother, you pictured her one way, and then the daughter was talking about her. You're like, oh, I see a completely different side of her that I didn't notice if it was only told in one person. Sometimes you don't realize what your strengths are or your weaknesses are. You have to have someone else point them out. So I think that did a great job of developing the characters in this book. It was deliciously, delightfully spooky. I really loved it. I think it would be a great read for the fall. It takes place in England, so it's always chilly there. There's always a drizzle, and so it's just a perfect atmosphere for curling up with a great book.
So, Kat,
Yes.
I usually stay away from anything that I think is going to keep me up at night if I've been reading and then I want to go to sleep. I'm kind of a scaredy cat. Is this book going to be difficult for me to read before bedtime?
So I did read this a year ago, and I do not recall it terrifying me. I do remember mostly feeling just like, ooh, that's scary, but not terrified. I'm going to hide this book until I can handle it. I have read books like that where I was, had to shut the curtains on my window just in case anyone was watching me. This didn't give me that feeling. It was just wonderful.
Okay. That's good to know. I think I can handle it.
Okay. And once again, that is The Stranger Diaries by Ellie Griffiths.
Okay. I am going to go and just take us in a different direction here. This is one of our cookbooks. It's nonfiction, and it's called Great Balls of Cheese. And the reason that I am recommending this is I just can't believe it's sitting on the shelf and no one has this book. If you can see the cutest owl here, he's a cheese ball, okay? And a delicious one at that. There's every single one in here is just so cute. And here's the hedgehog, so cute. And they're different. So this one is a savory cheese ball, and the hedgehog is actually a sweet one. So they're savory and sweet, which is nice, and they just really make an impact. If I brought the owl to a potluck, and it just really is so much fun. And I think that, how is this just sitting here? How has no one got this great cookbook for cheese balls? So it's one of my favorites.
Okay, and Carol, you did mention that you made one of those cheese balls yourself. What would you say the level of difficulty was? Is it something that an inexperienced cook could come in and figure out pretty easily?
So it was easier than I thought. I did make a mistake because I like to cook, but I love chef shows, but I don't think I knew what a shallot was. Called for a shallot. I was in the grocery store and asked, they didn't have any shallots, and so I improvised and I used green onions, and it was a hit. People loved it, but I'm not really sure you're supposed to substitute green onions for shallots. So
and I don't know what a shallot is either.
I don't know what it is. So
I'm an open a can of soup kind of cook most of the time.
Okay.
All right. My next book is The Luster of Lost Things by Sophie Chen Keller. Right here, another book that I read this year during those long, quiet days at home. I loved this one. I don't usually love books that are magical or mystical. This one had just the right sprinkle of magic in it. It just enhanced the story. It's about a boy who works with his mother at their bakery, and the bakery is enhanced by a magic book that they were given. They call it magical, and it seems to have brought their bakery a ton of success, so much that a jealous person steals that magical book and makes off with it, and the bakery does seem to go in decline. So this is really a book about a quest of a young boy trying to track down that magic book to bring it back to his mother's bakery. And along the way, he meets an entire cast of offbeat characters. Takes place in New York City, and it's a lot about the magic within ordinary places. It was heartwarming. It was enjoyable, entertaining. It's says it's steeped in nostalgic wonder. I would definitely say that that's true for this book.
That one sounds really good. Now, would you say that it leans more toward the fantasy, or is there enough realism in it that?
I think the
Feels
balance was
true.
perfect because it wasn't too magical for me, like I said. And then it's this boy, his talent is being able to find lost things. So he already did that to begin with. Friends and neighbors would call on him to find their lost anything just because he had such a keen sense of observation that he was able to find those things, except for his lost father. So there's an underlying story in this. So I would definitely recommend The Luster of Lost Things by Sophie Chen Keller.
Thank you. All right, well, we are wrapping things up here. I have one last book that I have not read, and I just wanted to introduce it as one of our new books that's on our new display shelf, which of course no one can see because the building is closed. So I wanted to draw attention to this one because this one I really would like to read next. Partly because it is by a Latino, and September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month. And so in honor of that, I have chosen this book. Where I Come From, Life Lessons from a Latino Chef is by Aaron Sanchez. And he is a celebrity chef. You've probably seen him on MasterChef and some other shows. He does have at least one restaurant in LA, if not more. And his mother was a chef. But it really does do a nice, at least it's described as doing a nice job of sharing his life story as well as a lot of his kitchen and restaurant stories as well, because I think he's opened several restaurants. So a couple recipes peppered throughout it. So I'm excited to read this and learn a little bit more about him.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, Kat, for being here with me for this. It was really fun.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I love talking about this.
Right, we want to do this again. So this is going to be a regular program that you will be able to find on the library's YouTube channel. And if you were tuning in live, we will typically shoot this program live. If you have asked any questions or made any comments in the chat, we've been chatting and we don't know that. So if you really want any answers or want to let us know any feedback, you can do that through our social media on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll get those questions or comments. So thank you so much, and I hope you tune in for more book recommendations and more series or shows on the shelf.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. We're going to end our recording now.